Thank you.
I've already been here for a couple hours. I'm a little wound up.
Thank you very much.
We have many hours to go.
No.
Just want to call Miss Pamela Bennett, Pam Benjamin. If you would come forth and talk a little bit about the Board of Adjustment.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Benjamin.
So, and do I have to stand?
I think you gotta go to
You got to go to the mic.
I was mic'd, so I don't really have to, because, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I am going to defer the discussion of this to the experts. So we have with us today, we have Todd Byers and Madeline Bowden. And they are the ones who really work with the boards. Todd and Madeline are the ones that sent in the memo to request that the Administrative Policy Committee discuss this actually today. So for me not to botch the whole situation, I'm gonna turn it over to those people who are much smarter than me to talk about their request and how this will make things much better for them. So Todd.
Thank you, Todd.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The Building Board of Appeals or a Building Board of Adjustments is intended for, if there's an opportunity where I, as a building official, the building official makes a ruling or decision based on my interpretation of the code, the Board of Appeals is an opportunity for a contractor, homeowner, to take that opinion to that board to see if my interpretation of the building code is in fact correct. The Building Board of Appeals has no authority to override the building code. They can't omit the building code. It's strictly a way of interpreting the building code, both our building code, international building code, as well as residential building code. So that the committee would alternate either one, whether it be a building, commercial building or residential building. The request or the memo, at one time it was talked about combining the Building Board of Appeals with the Property Maintenance Building Board of Appeals. Those two organizations or those two boards are vastly different. The Building Board of Appeals deals with construction, life safety issues, fire issues, structural issues. When you look at the Building Board of Property Maintenance Appeals, they're looking at how the building is maintained, not how the building is built. So it is my suggestion that we keep those two boards separate. The professionals on those boards have different backgrounds. Yes, there could be some overlapping, but it would be a very rare case where any of those individuals on those two boards would be, I won't say confident or comfortable, but it would not be their expertise. I'll put it that way. Are there any questions or?
In the event that in communities where there is new building programs,
Yes, sir.
talk to me a little bit about that.
Okay. The Building Board of Appeal is listed in the building code. It's in chapter 1. There's a section both in the residential and in the building code. When I say building code, I mean commercial. We refer to it as a building code. So both of those organizations or both of those code building committee or Board of Appeal committee.
All right, so just so I understand what's going on. Currently, you're the sole arbiter of
Building code.
building code.
Go.
Yes, sir.
All right, so you review something and you say, all right, so this is my opinion, okay.
My interpretation.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
interpretation, I like that
Yes, sir.
better, okay. And then, if someone says that they disagree with you,
Yes.
okay, so then someone's gotta disagree, and then what happens after that now?
They would take that code section and that disagreement, their version of what I interpreted to that Building Board of Appeals. Those experts, those professionals would then read the same code sections I looked at. They would then determine if I did in fact interpret the code correctly, if there was another method to achieve the same code that would satisfy that code section, those professionals would then rule on that. That would then be the final decision for that particular code situation.
That's what happens now.
Correct.
Okay, so what's gonna happen in the future?
Yeah.
That is currently how we're set up. I don't know that would ever put into fruition the fact that the two boards were mingled. There was a proposal for those two boards, the Property Maintenance Board and the Building Board, to go together. I'm trying to prevent that.
Okay, that makes,
Currently, we've had two boards. The idea was to put them together, and I don't want to do that. I don't think that's beneficial to the two boards because you've got different experts, different code sections, different code books altogether that those individuals would be looking at.
We're gonna need appointments.
And we would need appointments, the board needs to be reappointed. That's kind of what Madeline and I started doing, was to try to get those individuals.
How did we
back.
get, how do we get to the point where there was this movement to put the boards together?
So when there was a discussion several years ago, when new council came on, we reviewed all the boards and commissions, the bylaws, the structures, all of that. And at that time, there was a suggestion that we consolidate and combine some of those boards together. And so this was one of those that was
Adjustments and appeals.
recommended.
So instead of a two-step process, we're looking at one step.
You're still looking at one step either way. It's just the fact that we're looking at two different boards for those avenues to go to. If David Hatcher has an issue with property maintenance, he has his board that would answer his questions using his code book. If I have an issue with building residential or commercial, I have a board that goes to that does with my code books that I interpret and I'm charged with the state to enforce.
So this board currently exists or does not?
Yes and no, we need to reappoint them, and that's where we got that. Currently, we have a building board of appeals, yes, sir.
Okay.
Right now, I need to get the individuals reappointed to that board, so I have it. That's, again, what, as Ms. Benjamin was saying, that's what kind of got us here, is that Madeline and I wanted to get the board together again, and it was remembered that previous council had wanted to put the two boards together.
Right.
And I was not involved in those conversations, and I'm now involved in those conversations, and I don't want those two boards put together. Because again, their expertise and their code books are vastly different. The property maintenance board, again, not to take anything against it, it's about 300 pages. My code book's about 1,500, and I have two of them. And we deal with structural stuff, we deal with life safety, with the fire department, those type of things that we don't address in property maintenance. So those individuals, their expertise, their backgrounds are designed around those code books. And you start mixing those, then you've got, it just, to me, doesn't work.
So the appointment of members to that board was the
The reappointment.
right, the
Reappointment.
reappointment and reinstatement because of the thought to consolidate them and then have a whole new board.
How far does this go back?
When was that, 2021?
Okay, so a long way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And the board and my tenure as a building official, I have not had a need for it, and I've been in this position 4 years. My tenure as in the commercial side of it, it's been used one time as a plans examiner, and that was in 2018. It was the only time I've had it. My tenure of 12 years with the city, 13 with the city, it's been used one time during my tenure with the city. So it's not a board that's used frequently,
I was gonna ask that, so,
but it is a board by building code, which is state law, I have to have in place for my backup should people not agree or contractors not agree with my decision interpretation.
So instead of combining both, we're talking about two separate
Yes, sir.
summary
Two separate boards,
Two separate boards,
individuals, total different
adjustments,
individuals.
and appeals, right?
Correct.
And then they would have their appointments for each of their respective.
David Hatcher and his crew would appoint his to his property maintenance board of appeals. Madeline and I have already been working on those with Ms. Benjamin to able to get those individuals reinstated. They're listed on the memo, those are the ones that have confirmed that are willing, those are previous board members that were part of it from past boards.
so that traditionally, a lot of appointments go through council though, for the actual
And
appointment.
they would still,
So
they
go
would
through
still go
council
through
for
council for
approval.
appointment.
Those
For
would be our
approval.
recommendations.
But these are
based
their
on the past.
recommended.
Yes, sir.
They go
This is
through
staff
action.
Yes, sir. They would still
Okay.
go through that process and you all would still approve them at a council meeting.
And David Hatcher would agree with you on this.
Yes, sir, he is not here, but I have had conversations with him, and he and I both agree that our boards are vastly different.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No, sir.
Thank you so much, Todd.
Thank you, absolutely, appreciate the time.
Unless you wanna talk some more?
No, sir, I do not, I am great.
But like he said, they certainly haven't met,
they're in
very
the
often
process.
at all. So, if there's something that comes up, they need a full functioning
full board.
board in
Yes, ma'am,
order
yes,
to,
sir. I need to have that, again, because I'm required by building code to have it, which is again state.
sorry.
Sorry. Yeah, Yes, I am required by state statute to have a building board of appeals. Every jurisdiction based on the building code has to have one. So I have to have, it may never be used, and that's the case as I was using the examples. Last time I know it was used it's in 2018. I have not even had a request since then. But again, I have to have it active should that arise. It's not something, because again, council has to approve these individuals that I can just throw together a group of people and have this board.
So the action would be to keep the board separate, and
Right.
then they would go through the process of being put on the members that they're recommending. Will go through the process of
Okay.
the
Be
appointment
appointed by
process
city council.
that you all would
Got it.
How
approve
close are
their
we,
appointment.
how close are we in terms of pulling these folk together?
The individuals listed on the memo that I sent have agreed to go through the process to be appointed. I do need 2 more because those are the 5. I have to have 7 for absences and stuff and things of that nature to be able to have a majority. So I do have to have 2 alternates, which we haven't found yet. But those 5 individuals that I've listed have agreed to go through the approval process.
So we would advertise like we typically
Normally
do.
do,
And
yeah.
they would apply, and then hopefully you'd have some additional people who would apply.
Yes,
Who
ma'am.
have some background in the area. And
that is a
then,
requirement. I did
Exactly.
make 1 copy, but I will give this to you gentlemen. It does give the depiction of the requirements for building code of those individuals. Must have some type of contractor education background.
Sounds like a pretty good job. You
Yeah.
gotta meet every 10 years, so.
Pretty much. If needed.
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
Maybe, might not need it.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like just based on the requirements and the voluminous number of pages one has to read for both. Yeah, I think we're probably doing the right thing. We're doing the right
Excellent.
thing.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Todd.
Yes, sir, appreciate it.
so it'll be, Ashley will go through her process of advertising.
the individuals.
Appreciate you.
And then these people would be encouraged to apply,
Right.
and then you would do that selection.
The 30
Sounds
day,
good.
the 30-day
It would be
time
30
parameter,
days.
okay. Sounds good.
Great.
Thank you so much, Todd.
Thank you, sir.
You,
Thank you.
now, you're at liberty to stay as long as you want, but if you're done, you all can
Follow
leave.
my director.
You all can leave, Krista.
Absolutely.
Great, great. Aisha, Aisha, would you come forward now and talk to us a little bit about renaming the minority business?
Yes, sir. So I do want to give a little bit of background on both of these councils. The first one is the Minority Business Advisory Council. It was established in 2013. The purpose is to collaborate with our office to carry out responsibilities related to economic development, procurement, training, and other matters affecting our small business community. So that's the first one. We call that MBAC for short. So that's one of the councils that we're discussing today. The next one is the Mentor Protege Advisory Council. That was established in 2012. And the purpose of that is really just to focus on reviewing our program goals and making recommendations for our Mentor Protege program. And then making any recommendations to City Council or the City Manager about changes that we may deem necessary. So our recommendation today is 1, we want to rename the Minority Business Advisory Council to the Mayor's Small Business Advisory Council, because really that is the focus on all of our small businesses within the city of Columbia. And we voted on that in April, and everyone agreed that they were fine with renaming that council from the Minority Business Advisory Council to the Small Business Advisory Council. And in an effort to be a little bit more efficient with having these duplicate or more than one council that have similar goals, we want to combine those 2 councils into one. And I think that was also a discussion based off of the previous discussion about combining councils when it makes sense. And I think this is one that makes sense to combine them because they have similar goals regarding our small business initiatives. I do have a list of the current members that are on the Minority Business Advisory Council, and they're listed here. We do have 2 vacancies, and what we would recommend is filling those 2 vacant spots with members of a mentor protege team So we will go through the process of advertising for those spots. We have some good ideas on mentors and proteges that have really seen a lot of success in the program. And I think they bring a lot of value to that group to talk about how we can expand that program. Our chair right now is Karen Jenkins. She was going to be here today, but she's traveling from Charleston, so she wasn't sure if she would make it in time. But she's in agreement that making this, combining these two councils and renaming it is a good decision to make. So that's our recommendation. And I have Kalina here, she really coordinates all of our council meetings with MBAC and with our MPP council meetings, so we are available to answer any questions you may have.
Questions?
No, sir.
Questions? Aisha, you're very clear about what we wanna do in the renaming of this minority business, the mayor's thing. I think it's something that, all of us can sort of benefit from and this city can benefit from. So yes, I'm in agreement with that.
Same.
Thank you, ma'am.
So the next step for this would be you all would have to refer it out of your committee
to
to the full
council.
council
Yep.
for.
And I
for
plan
them
to
all
do that
vote.
today.
Yeah.
I can do that today, one step.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
any questions? Ms. Benjamin? I'm sorry. TK?
No, you're fine. We're just discussing whether or not a resolution will be required to enact the final changes, but we'll work that out on our end if additional actions needed.
Can we be ready for this evening?
You would go ahead and, you can make your, report out this evening.
All
And
right,
if further action is required, we'll bring it back on July 15th.
all right. Sounds good.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Any other questions? Now, are there other things that we need to talk about as a community? I guess not. I want to thank our city manager for being with us today. And thank you all so much for being here. And guess what? In 30 minutes, we completed the business of this committee. Is that motion for adjournment?
Motion for adjournment, yes, sir.
So move. Thank y'all very much.
Awesome. Very
Aisha, and Chief, man.
Thanks, man.
Awesome.
Aisha, sit down.